Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, glad to have you here. Today we have another Empire versus Beastmen matchup, and I will be bringing Boris Todbringer to bear against Morger and his Gorbel buddies. So you can see he does have a Gorbel down there. He has a Brave Shaman of Death, which is a great pick in this matchup, I think. He has Morger Shadowgave, and he's got a second Gorbel. And really, you don't see very many dual Gorbel builds lately in the meta. You really just see mostly one. Because these buffs can be spectacular in the late game, and just having one allows you to kind of protect it from range fire, because you can spend more kind of on flanking stuff, and you can just kind of keep Gorbel in the back until you've dealt with their firing line and then bring him in to kind of finish in the late game. But he has the two Gorbels here. You can see out on this far flank, he's got all of his cav, 3 Centaurs with great weapons, and 1 Poison Warhound. And then he's got a huge main line of just Gore Herd. And so that's very brave, putting all your cav on one side. And I'm going to try and take advantage of that. And you can see I have a front line here of Flagellants. Behind them I have Free Company Militia. I do have the Silver Bullets, of course. And I have 1 unit of Halberds for some armor-piercing anti-large damage. Mostly for Gorbels in the end, is why I brought these guys. 2 Spearmen for Centaurs with great weapons. I do have 1 Demigryph Knight with Halberd, just to have a nice mobile force to protect my range units. And then I have a Light Wizard and Boris Todbringer here. And the Light Wizard just has Faw's Protection, Net of Ammontalk, and a Scroll of Power. So I can get 2 nets and a Faw off really quick. And that's going to really help. You can see here I've kind of deployed my lines a little bit different, so that if they did come in, my Free Company, if they had no other targets, they could still kind of shoot into these blobbed, the blobbed around the sides of the Flagellant unit, essentially. So they can, as the Gourds come in, they can kind of shoot those that peek through. And that's a tactic you see in a ton of my videos, so really nothing new. But this here is the problem with having all your cav on one side. I'm just going to charge through my own dudes. And these Gore Herd are not going to like it at all. And this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to clip the wings kind of this formation and start to roll him up early on. I'm going to get a nice charge in the rear, and oh man, just doing a ton of free damage. Here comes Boris. He's going to land in here too. Gorbel is coming in, so I'm going to get out of here. And I'm actually going to charge these guys, and then I'm going to sandwich them in 3 from all sides, and they're just going to not have a good time. Over here, I do not get my charge with my Flagellants, which is definitely a big mistake. But you can see I'm getting some nice early fire on Gorbel, and now I'm just going to pull straight through my own Flagellants here. Try to avoid as much damage as possible. Here you can see, because I believed I was going to win this front engagement, and he did have 1 extra unit. I had to bring in my Spearmen, but I brought them in such a way that these Gore Herd here would have to engage them, and I'd be able to shoot into the side. So with this combo, these Spearmen will win this fight. But otherwise, my Spearmen would just get completely annihilated. So here you can see already routing 1 Gore Herd, and I've done a ton of damage to another, and I've got kind of a favorable engagement on this one. So as long as Boris can get out of here, I'm feeling okay. And, you know, the Centaurs don't have a complete surround on him yet, so I'm not too worried. And you can see getting some nice silver bullet fire here as my Reiksguard pull through. Boris taking hit. These Flagellants are going to do really actually pretty well against these Centaurs, and you can see I'm dropping a net here. I do manage to catch his Brave Shaman and 1 Centaur, but he is spread out enough that he's not going to be able to, you know, I'm not going to trap all his cav. So he definitely saw this was coming, and then I was really lucky to kind of clip this Warhound here with that. And you can see a Fate of Bina being dropped here. Definitely a more effective spell against like a Reiksguard with 45 models in the current game. Oh, you can see there he does not get a charge, so that is definitely a mistake there. I'm going to tear these guys up if they don't get a charge here. But it just does more damage to a 45 model unit. And you can see my Halberds coming in to support. I think I'm actually going to bring them in here as I try and wrap up this main fight. So you can see now my Reiksguard are mobilizing. I think I'm going to bring 1 around here. And I'm going to bring 1 over here, potentially. And you can see Boris did get up, and I'm getting some nice shots here on this Gorbel, and I'm just going to keep going for that front line. I need to crush that leadership, stop that frenzy from being procced, essentially, is what I'm going for there. And you can see here my demigriffs are taking a lot of damage, mostly from the Fate Buna, but they are getting rid of the Centaur. So definitely doing okay for me. And you can see my halberd slowly just trying to run over there. Reiksguard are coming over here as well. And these Reiksguard are kind of just finishing off all these units out here. You can see there, one Gorbel shatters. I do get a Scroll of Power there, which is great. And I'm going to drop another one, try and trap these units, but I only managed to get those two. His Bray Shaman of Death does get out, and he's going to come in here, and these poor Free Company Militia are going to get annihilated. But luckily, I'm kind of wrapping up this flank, so I'm going to have some more Flagellants to pour in. You can see my Free Company are getting in here. Spirit Leech coming down on Boris, that is okay. And you can see these Demigriff Knights are chasing down Gorbel, trying to get him, but he's just kind of outpacing them. And you can see he's won this left flank, I think. And he's done a ton of damage to most of my Flagellant line. But now I'm bringing up my reserves, and my firing line is just going to have a field day here. Now that I can kind of turn and focus on these remaining units. You can see Silver Bullets shooting Gorbel down as he charges. Having the Demigriffs nearby does not help his morale. And you can see wherever Boris lands, he just makes them rout, because he does have that Crush the Weak, which I think is one of the best abilities downright in the game. So here you can see when he hits a unit that is less than 50% leadership, cannot target if higher than 50%, -8 melee attack, -9 melee defense, and -4 leadership. And that is beyond the actual, I think they still have Blood Roar. So they hit them even more. And then Terror and Fear. So it is just a great combo to like kind of rout units off. You can see now the balance bar is shifting in my favor. My reserves, my spears from this side are going to be coming in here. You can see Demigriff Knights are getting Fate of Unit again, so they are not long for this world. But soaking up like 32 Winds of Magic is definitely worth it. You can see my Reiksguard still trying to run around, find a nice place to sit. And he does spawn these Chaos Spawn in here. And I'm sloppy, and you can see my Free Company Militia are not out of the combat. They're in the combat, so I really need to pull these guys out. I really need to shift my Silver Bullets. You can see this Free Company Militia. Yeah. And so these Chaos Spawn are not going to last long in there against Flagellants, Reiksguard, and incoming fire. So you can see they're going to be dropping pretty quickly. You can go see Morgur as he fights. You can see the Lord of Light Wizard just getting in there, laying a smack down. Not a bad, spellcasters are not a bad melee fighter. Here you can see some remnants. I do net them, so I'm going to keep shooting them. And I'm going to have to turn all my ranged units here, because I overcommitted a little bit to the central engagement, and this chariot's just going to tear through my Free Company. And you can see this unit is too long. I need to really make it more blocky. And there, I think I do make it more blocky, but that just makes it a better charge for him. You can see Boris chasing that guy around. But yeah, definitely a close game. I definitely think it would have been much harder for me to win if I hadn't been able to get those really just powerful charges early on the game. And that's why, you know, especially against Empire, who can field such good, kind of relatively good cheap cavalry, only 1100 for a heavily armored, great anti-infantry cavalry, right, like the Reiksguard. You really got to be careful about clipping the flanks. And so you can see 140 kills on this guy, almost 80 kills, and an XP chevron on this guy. So definitely a ton of work. You can see some of these Goreherd only got 1 or 3 kills, when really almost everything except the cavalry, the Goreherd would have had a great fight against. Though they tore up the Flagellants on that left side, but on that right side they just weren't able to win because of those cavalry charges here. And you can see my firing squad definitely doing work. Those Gorbel with 0 and 1 kills. That's definitely what you want to see when fighting a 1300 gold unit. And just, yeah, those Nets of Amontok, being able to shut down and then isolate particular units was definitely a boon here. And you can see my Demigriffs doing good work here and hunting down heroes and Centaurs. But yeah, definitely great game to my opponent. And thanks for watching. That's that.